Oh, yeah. You know what time it is? It's time to pick a date. Yeah, that's what we like. And when we pick a date, we want to pick a real good one for you. Pick a date time. It's fun. It's easy. You put your finger on a calendar. You pick a date. It's Stu here. Hello. I'm joined by Matt.
Hello.
Chubbs.
Hello.
And Ben.
Good evening.
Are we sensible this evening?
Yeah, I'm wearing a natty vest and a bit of a bow tie and some reading glasses. Yes,
Right. Well,
and
you're
in a
hip-
well-lit
that's-
area.
That's hipster Ben, not sensible.
In a well-lit
hipster
area.
then.
No, he's very sensible. He's keeping safe.
Yeah, definitely. I also have a seatbelt on.
Anyone got any amusing stories from their lives?
As I mentioned to you earlier, I freaked my children out at bedtime simply because they asked a random question, which is, what do blind people see when they sleep?
Ooh.
And so I just explained to them the
I think
concept.
you've just freaked me out.
The concept that blind people actually, depending if they're totally blind, they don't see anything.
Or if they ever had sight.
Yeah, if they never had sight, but if they're totally blind, then they don't see anything. It's not like closing your eyes. You don't see black. You don't see anything, and then that just freaked them out. So, like, what do you mean they don't see anything? It's you can understand if you can't hear anything or can't smell anything. That makes sense. But to not be able to see anything, it's not darkness. It's nothing. And
Do blind people dream in pictures?
well, if they're fully blind, they don't dream in pictures. No.
Do they dream in smell?
Well, it is audio, visual, and mental. It's I don't know. That's hard to explain because
I don't. Yeah.
because dreaming is.
I don't know how you would dream in smell.
Well, neither do I. I'm not blind.
You've twisted me up with your logic there, sensible Van.
Yeah, so that freaked them out. So I'm going to look it up tomorrow because there was a show on ABC last year, which was, I think, You Can't Ask Me That or something like that,
Right.
where they talked to different groups, and one of them was about people who are sight impaired. It's very interesting.
Yeah. Give your children crises at bed.
Yeah, they was
Thought
freaking
wasn't
out. I was like, I shouldn't have started that. Sorry.
All right then.
I know what to bring up with my class tomorrow.
Yeah, it's a great thing to bring
yeah.
on. It would be a great thing, Chubbs.
Oh, that'd be a good art project.
Oh, draw a blind person's dream.
Yep.
Oh, holy cow. That's great.
Oh.
Just go and ask random people tomorrow. Just take a pen and some paper around with you all day and just go, here, I've got a task for you.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right.
Hey, look, I've got a quick question.
Yeah.
So I'm at work today in a stall, dropping one.
Okay.
I don't know. Is this
Right.
is this
Sounds like a trouser story.
is this pick a date territory? I don't know. But anyway, right, someone comes in and goes right into the stall next to mine, even though there are spare stalls further away.
Oh, comfort turd.
Now that's kind of in my space unnecessarily. Am I within my right to just knock on the wall and go, "Excuse me,
Yeah.
can you fuck off?"
It's invading your personal space, really, isn't it?
Why would you need to do that?
Oh,
It's the equivalent of someone coming up and hugging you from behind without being asked.
That's right. Well, I would.
I'm with Buckland here.
and doing a shit at the same time. While shitting. Yeah.
As long as they're not cuddling you from behind while you're on the toilet.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
It's a Blumpkin hug.
Oh my
Fireman's
God.
carry under the floor.
That is the craziest toilet stall ever. It's got
Fireman's
a
carry.
releasing door behind it where people jump out.
Oh, right. That sounds like a Japanese game show to me.
I was going to say, it sounds like a Japanese game show. The toilet turns into a person.
Yeah.
Just
The
grabs
hugging
you.
system.
Well, no, just hugging glory holes.
Oh, the reach around.
Yeah, the two arms come through for a hug, nothing else.
Oh, right. That's right.
sorry.
You're the one that called it a hugging glory hole.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm sorry we got that wrong.
This
doesn't have a lot to do with history.
No.
Does it? No. Should we move on to history, or has anyone got anything else?
So we had this workshop today. Lovely getting to know you, lovely beautifulness, and I love so much. And we have a new. We always name tags. We have a new person working with us who seemed a little unusual, but today the question went around like to everyone: what brought you to this job? What brought you to this job? And everyone's saying very general, very boring things. I was at this place, and transferred to here.
Yes,
taxi, nice, catching the bus.
Car.
Yeah, and then it got to her, and her response was the stars.
Oh,
and everyone said, "Yeah, okay."
Dancing with?
She said, the 11th of April, 2016. I read in my stars that a decision I make on this day will come to fruition in May of 2018. And here I am.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. I thought she was doing her own Pick a Date podcast.
And everyone went, okay.
So what, where did she read, like Athena Starwoman or something?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, some star woman said that.
Okay.
Is she still around?
Oh,
Yeah, she's fat. It's pretty funny.
all right.
Solid
She's
time
Rose-ended.
there, Chubbs.
Yeah, no,
She's Rose-ended. Let's not talk about Rosie.
yeah, we can't talk. On this date, pick a date. On this date, Roseanne got shunted.
Yeah, on this. But can I just say, and it's actually a good segue into something else I was going to say. We talked about this on my other podcast, Welcome to Television.
Oh, how lovely.
If you haven't listened to that, go and find it if you're Australian and
Yeah.
want to hear some idiots talk about what's happened on TV.
And just try and I don't know if it was the last episode or the one before that, where Stu tried his best to get people talking about Animal, the drummer from Hey Hey, it's that. Which I approved
No one
of.
bit.
I approved of. You're on the wrong podcast for that, Buckland. I mean, Stu.
But that's the thing. I've talked to those guys about Hey Hey It's Saturday multiple times, and no one bid. That was amazing.
You know, when
Anyway.
you do a crossover episode, they can do this one.
No one's giving you a hey Daryl or anything. Once.
Yeah, well, they have said, oh, can we come on your other podcast? And I said, well, we record it sort of remotely via Skype or Google Hangouts, and that lost them there because they're Luddites. But yes, so on the podcast we recorded today, we were just saying how quickly the world works now. You can tweet something racist at 3 o'clock. By 5 o'clock, your show's canned. By 6 o'clock, your agent has dumped you. By 7 o'clock, you're off Twitter. By 8 o'clock, the world hates you. Like, it's amazing.
It's quite stunning.
Yes. I'm going to blame Sensible Ben for just obscurely
Plucking her out of the air last week.
ripping on Roseanne out of nowhere, which probably somehow found its way into a kind of mindscape somehow. And
Zeitgeist.
yeah, nice one. Let's pick a date.
Good day.
What date are we going to pick?
The date we're going to pick is May 29.
Ooh.
And I tempted fate. I did not look at the births and deaths before picking this date, but we've got a few that we can work with here. Yeah. All right. So 1903, Bob Hope was born.
Oh,
That's a good one.
Yeah, actor, singer, producer, Bob Hope.
who was that? Is that a walk on? Have we got like a Johnny Carson walk on?
It was Johnny Carson doing an impression of Bob Hope.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
Yes,
Right,
yes,
That
yes.
makes sense then.
Okay.
Too subtle for me, Buckle. Too sorry.
Yeah,
about
come on.
Layers.
Check the levels, bitch. 1917, John F. Kennedy, reasonably famous person.
Yes, indeed.
Is he that? Oh, wow. I didn't realise he was. I thought he was a bit younger than that, but yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, well, you know, he was
101.
mid-40s or...
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. He's just kind of, as I say, it's one of those things that time goes so fast, doesn't it? It seems like only yesterday
Those
we
were
was
the
watching.
days, my friends. I agree.
Yeah.
Sorry.
1967. This sounds old, too. 1967, Noel Gallagher.
Right.
An old galley.
That's making us old, isn't it? If he's 51.
Yes.
Oh, shit.
There you go. Yeah, that's right.
Pack it in. That's it.
Well, that's depressing, so we should move on to the deaths, right?
Yes.
Let's lighten the mood.
Fun times.
1814, Josephine de Beauharnais, the first wife of Napoleon Bonaparte and Empress of France, of the Not Tonight Josephine fame, you may remember. Now, that's pretty baffling, famous phrase to have through history. Basically, someone, knocking back a root has become like a famous quote in history.
And how did that get passed on? Was someone in the room, or did he tell?
Exactly.
Did she complain, or did he pass it on?
Well, yeah, I don't know if he's down with all these sort of macho troops the next morning saying, "Oh yeah, I wasn't up for it last night," or I don't understand. That's why I believe it's apocryphal.
Yes.
I'm going to say it right now.
Unless she was constantly on it, and he was just like, "Oh God, she's."
Oh Jesus, give it a rest.
I know, I'm trying to conquer everything here, and
Yeah, I know.
I don't need to conquer you as well.
A bit of mince hanging down my legs here.
I'm trying to creep around in the dark, and bits of me are glowing.
Can we subtitle this episode Napoleon's Mince?
All right. Hang on.
Napoleon Bonaparte, and no wonder.
Oh, the bone came apart.
Good night, everybody. I'm going to retire.
Well done.
That was Bob Hope as well. That was my impersonation of Bob.
That's your impression of Bob Hope doing a pun about Napoleon Bonaparte. Well done.
Pretending to be Bert Newton.
Yeah.
Pretending to.
1997, Jeff Buckley.
Oh,
That was the day he
It's the
drowned.
big one.
And 2010, Dennis Hopper. Is the day he
forgot about
died.
that.
He's one that I forgot. He died. Why did I not remember that?
Well, because you got blinkers onto the world.
Is that your Dennis Hopper? Is that your Dennis Hopper go-to line? Does anyone else? My Dennis Hopper go-to line is from Apocalypse Now, where he's like, "What are they going to say about him, man? That he was a good man? That he was a kind man? Bullshit!" Great mad
Or
performance.
either that, or it's at both speed. You're going, "You can't beat me. You're going to pay me every dollar."
Yeah, that's the one that I was thinking of, yeah.
Yes. Anyway, instead of doing Dennis Hopper lines all night, we might move on to some events from May the 29th, 1453, the fall of Constantinople, when the Ottoman armies capture Constantinople after a 53-day siege, ending the Byzantine Empire. Any gags there?
No.
All right.
fairly humorless, the Byzantines.
I went there once. That's all I've got.
All right. Thank you.
Just passing
Have you
through.
suddenly grown... You seem to have suddenly grown a ponytail.
Well, I went to Greece too, but that was ruined.
Yeah, it was ruined. Yeah. 1660, the English Restoration, Charles II is restored to the throne of England, Scotland and Ireland. 1919, Albert Einstein's theory of general relativity is tested by Arthur Eddington and Andrew Claude de la Chaux-Crommelin. I wish I'd had a crack at saying that before I had recording.
That's right. Someone proved that you could bend light.
How did they test it?
How?
You could prove that you
Yeah,
can bend
exactly.
light. That's what.
It was the bending light,
It was the
wasn't it?
bending
That was
light,
the-
yes.
Yeah.
They went,
Wow.
"Oh, you can bend light." Never saw that before.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, how
That
does,
was
What a
my...
mirror, dickhead. Fucking hell.
what about when you close the door and light comes out of it? You mutants? How hard was that to work out? I believe that's what he said.
Was that his go-to insult?
Yeah.
Do you reckon?
Yeah. Just kicking back.
1953, Edmund Hillary and Sherpa Tenzing become the first people to reach the summit of Mount Everest.
I love Shepard Tenzing.
Oh, he's-
I think he's probably one of my favourite historical figures.
Right.
He's a fucking dude. He's really, really good. We're going to find out his birth date and we'll do a
His
shot.
birthday's like in a couple of days, I believe.
No. His birthday
That was
Is it today?
It was 29th, isn't it?
He's on the
Sorry, it was.
29th. It's on the same
It was
day.
the same day.
Oh,
Sorry.
wow.
I
That
just
was going to be my
I just
very
realised
next
that.
sentence.
Did he hold up the party? Like, nah, we can go today. No. Tomorrow. We've got to go tomorrow. It's my birthday. Come on.
I reckon you'd do the opposite, though. You wouldn't want it to be the same day.
It's your birthday. We're going to party
It's like being
it.
born on Christmas Day.
Yeah, exactly. It's like being born on Christmas Day. No one's gonna celebrate your birthday. They're celebrating the top of the mountain. If you have it,
The day you did some mounting.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if you're really going to go, how sad am I? People only want to bring up that I climbed Mount Everest first.
yeah,
Yeah, it's annoying.
exactly.
Where's my cake?
fucking cake.
Yeah, where's my cake?
I saw a really interesting thing on the other night on SBS. They were talking about the hunt for the Yeti. And it sounded, at first I thought it was going to be one of those really terrible.
You watch some solid stuff.
Yeah, I do. It was all that, but I thought it was going to be one of those, ridiculous kind of pseudoscience type things.
Yeah, History Channel documentaries.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it was, did aliens? Oh, and here's this fuzzy footage. But it was actually quite well done. Like, it was looking at the history of the myth of the Yeti, and they've got these apparently Yeti relics, and they DNA tested them all and everything like that, and they found out they were all actually, most of them are from a couple of different varieties of bear, which are native to the Himalayas. Oh. But as part of the process, they did the DNA testing on the Sherpas, and it was really interesting that the reason that they're so adapted to high altitude is because part of their DNA is actually from the Denisovans, which was like a subspecies of humans, like kind of the Neanderthals, and that was like their hangout. And because they interbred with them, they managed to pick up this trait on their genome. So that's why they're able to actually survive at the high altitudes, and why we can't, because we haven't got this Denisovan gene to stop you from getting altitude sickness. So there you go.
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, that's good.
Ah. Well, 1982 was Falklands War. British forces defeat the Argentines at the Battle of Goose Green.
Oh.
We all think.
The Battle of Goose Green.
Are we all thinking about Bottom?
Well, yeah, that's
the British sitcom. When was you there then?
I took Mawson's point single-handed. I shut Tucker's finger in the tank door.
If no one's seen Bottom, that's mystifying.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, there you go. And 1990, the Russian parliament elects Boris Yeltsin as president of the Russian Soviet Federative Socialist Republic.
Oh, we love Boris. We love Boris. Anytime you feel sad, just Google, YouTube, Boris conducting. It's the greatest.
Yeah.
Happy.
Oh, yeah.
Big jolly man having a good time.
He had his finger on the nuclear button at some point. So there you go.
Yeah.
And
do you reckon he'd go there overnight? Like he'd just go and hang out with a bottle of vodka and just sort of rub the button?
your fucking pardon.
Undoubtedly.
Rumour has it that the US kind of helped shovel him into the presidency.
Oh.
Because he was a buffoon, essentially, that would be easily managed.
Don't tell me the US have interfered in foreign elections.
Well, Russian of all.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Slow down, AK.
I need more proof.
Saint Day time.
St. Boris?
St. Boris of
Saint. The Saint
Napoleon of the Mince.
Saint Day bit really needs a theme, doesn't it? It's the most exciting part of the show. Did you guys know that flight attendants had a patron saint?
No.
Yes, Bona of Pisa is it's one of the saints whose saint day it is today. She's the saint of travellers and specifically flight attendants as well.
Interesting.
Now, wasn't St. Christopher the patron saint of travellers, and then didn't he get excommunicated? I get confused.
I think he was lost.
I did not research that, bizarrely enough.
I don't know.
Because isn't that what people put on their...
Yeah, the St. Christopher medal, yeah.
My wife's nan gave her St. Christopher's...
well, a lot of taxi drivers have the St. Christopher
hanging
medal
off their rear view. But he got excommunicated. I don't know the full story. I should stop talking.
As always, we encourage listeners to fact check us, and they can do that by sending their thoughts into pick a date at outlook.com or message us on the Facebooks or the Twitters. And May the 29th, guys, is also World Digestive Health Day.
Oh, so we're all on that.
I hope everybody's really giving their colon some solid thought. on that day.
And spacing their colons, especially from people in stalls next to them.
Yeah, please.
Correct.
So they don't kind of cramp up and stress out. Would be nice.
Oh, that's the worst. I like loud fans in toilets. Public toilets. Loud fans are the best.
Yep.
Well, if you feel
As in
a bit
people,
self-conscious-
just go Wigan.
Getting their boobs all around.
Oh, he's about to wipe without looking. Look. Oh, he did it. Oh my God, this is amazing.
I tell you what's also a little bit kind of makes you feel a bit self-conscious is if you're having a particularly splattery day and there are other people in the stalls with you and you kind of got to wait for the urinals to kick in with the auto flush to cover the sound.
Correct. Or the hand dryer, or the, all of that.
You're sitting there going, someone wash their fucking hands, for Christ's sake. Anyway, off topic once again. So, Ben, which 90s sitcom are you going to tell us about tonight?
Tonight's sitcom of choice is Hanging with Mr. Cooper. And it's actually not. But anyway, I got it in there. Well done. Gentlemen, I'd like to tell you about a couple of brothers. They are the Necro brothers. Joe and...
Sorry, hang on. Stop.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Is this a Roseanne moment?
No,
Did you
not
just say?
at all.
Right.
Not at all. Necro is spelt Niekro.
Right.
And for the
Go
second
ahead.
week in a row, this story is baseball related.
Oh, right. They play in the Necro Leagues.
That
Wow, that was quick. Nice one.
right.
I just can't get past Mr. Burns hunting them out in the Negro Leagues.
That's right.
Negro League.
Yeah. Oh, can we put that at the end? Because I don't know what I'm supposed to do now. I've just got that running through my head.
Push on with the story.
So Joe and Phil were both major league pitchers, and the funny thing about Joe and Phil is that they were both knuckleball pitchers, right?
Okay.
Now, to bring it back to, I always have to have some sort of cricket reference somewhere. I would say that the knuckleballer would be very similar to the left arm wrist spinner of cricket, in the fact
Just for those who weren't quite sure.
That's right. Very rare, and to have two as brothers is it's very, very rare. Now, strangely enough, these two brothers were very different. Phil was, he was the good guy. He was a magnificent pitcher. He was Hall of Fame. He was All-Star. But his brother Joe is most famous for actually some great video footage. I actually have got the YouTube clip ready to share.
Okay.
And it is of Joe being pulled up by one of the umpires for manipulating the ball. Now, when you're a knuckleball thrower, basically it's the rougher the ball, the more it's going to go all over the place. And this thing was doing ridiculous things. So the ref has gone, the umpire's gone up to him, and on the mound, he has got him to empty his pockets.
Right.
And Joe has just basically put his hands in his pockets and then just thrown stuff out onto the mound and just pretended like there was nothing in his pockets. He had a nail file in his pocket.
Right.
Now, strangely enough, that's a good part of the story. This is not actually about May 29th, but I do have that video. Hang on, just hang on. I do have that video, and I'm going to share it because it's freaking awesome.
Can I just ask, so can we get a vague era here? Or?
This is basically
You're saying video,
1976. So
76, okay.
Basically the date on.
I'm just trying to see how big the sideburns I should be picturing for.
The video footage is not great. I had a look around this afternoon, and we're really in a wonder age of video, in the fact that you can look back and you can only just make out the ball in most of these video clips. But so basically, Joe Necro played for 20 years and hit one home run in his career at nearly 1,000 at bats, right? And on the 29th of May, 1976, he hit his only home run. And
Right.
he hit it off his brother. So
How long had he been playing up until the point he hit his home run?
before he'd been playing for 10 years.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So
Now,
I'm feeling a bit of pity ball going
Yeah,
on
that's
here.
right. Was it softballed?
So,
a bit of pity ball. Well,
so you'd think that even by accident you might sort of
well, that's right.
top one into the stands somehow before 10 years.
Exactly, but then he played again. Like he played on until 1985. So,
didn't know that.
now look, pitchers don't necessarily bat that much, but to have 1,000 at bats and only hit one home run, and
Off
for
your
that
cheating
home
brother.
run to be off your cheating brother. No, actually, Phil, Joe was the cheater.
right, the batter
Phil was the good
cheater,
one.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Sorry.
It was Dodgy Joe.
Dodgy
He probably
Joe,
would have
sorry, yeah.
he would have put $300 on his brother to hit it.
That's right. So that caught my eye. I thought that was a real oddity. There's my little story for May 29th.
Was there any indication of any nepotism or any tomfoolery going on that it might have been? Did he lob it in? Did he do an underarm pitch?
There didn't seem to be. I mean, look,
Everyone was just kind of happy for him.
yeah, everyone was. I think it just sort of happened, you know. It was just one.
Obviously,
of
we
those things.
live
like there was more.
in a less cynical age.
Yeah.
That's right. Well, look, now the knives would be out, but back in the day, they were more worried about him having a nail file in his back pocket than they were about the good brother throwing the cheating brother. One high,
The
one high and tight.
announcers were more concerned about mispronouncing his name.
Yeah, that's right. Sweating every time he came up to bat.
Oh, these Negroes can play some ball.
Yeah, just in this dugouts. Damn these Negroes!
This Negro is one dirty player.
I like the I just like the
I'm
idea
telling
of
you right
him,
now.
I like the idea of him using the nail file to pretending he was using it on his glove, just to be like, no,
All right.
I don't need it. Just
Yeah.
No. His
smiling.
excuse was
Picking the stitching.
He said,
doing some picking.
Should I say it? At least it wasn't sandpaper. That's
That'd be the lowest.
bloody dodgy fucking sandpaper. Fucking. He actually said to the umpire, I have to file my nails on the mound because I can't throw knuckleballs if my nails are too long.
And I ate 20 avocados in a game. And they're just growing out of control.
Out of proportion. It's
I'm
ridiculous.
very healthy. Drinking so much milk. It's great.
Nice one.
all right. Well, thank you for that.
Yes.
My turn.
All right.
Let me tell you a story here. On May 29, 2007, a 29-year-old man at a karaoke bar in San Mateo, Rizal, the Philippines, was singing My Way by Frank Sinatra when he was shot dead,
Oh.
allegedly by the bar's security guard, who was arrested after the incident. According to reports, the guard complained that the young man's rendition was off-key, and when the victim refused to stop singing, the guard pulled out his .38 caliber pistol and shot the man dead.
Wow.
This, my friends, is one of many killings in the social phenomenon known as the My Way killings.
No. How many?
The My Way killings in the Philippines refer to a number of fatal disputes which arose during the singing of the song My Way in karaoke bars. A New York Times article estimates the number of killings to be between 6 and 12.
I was hoping you were going to say in the thousands.
Did it get to it? You were thinking, sensible Ben, that it was getting to the point where they were going up and saying, I would like to sing My Way. People just pulling their guns and shooting them.
Or just,
So people,
a machine
people wanna-
gun nest. And every time people come up for karaoke, is just mowing them down.
it's just a new form of euthanasia. You just walk into a karaoke bar and start. And now the end is near.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Opinions differ over whether the possible connection is due to the coincidence that the song was simply frequently sung in the nation's karaoke bars.
I was going to say, it's a pretty popular tune.
Yeah. Or whether it has something to do with the aggressive lyrics of the song itself.
Aggressive, did you say?
Yeah, well, it's aggressive. It's this is a macho, fairly violent society, and then you've got a song where the lyrics is someone getting up, basically saying, "I do what I want, no one can stop me," all that kind of stuff.
Right.
That's what some people attribute to it. So some Filipinos, even though they love the song, will not sing it in public in order to avoid trouble. As of 2007, the song's been taken off the playlist of karaoke machines in many bars in Manila after complaints of out-of-tune renditions of the song resulting in fights and deaths.
Wow.
Fuck.
So, do you think it's a passionate fan thing? Like, is this it seems, because off-key seems to be a bit of a theme going on here.
Mm.
So is it more the respect for the song rather than, as you say, the macho-ness of it?
Well, I don't know. These are just people's opinions. My opinion is probably just that this is a drunk, violent bar.
I think karaoke tends to bring out, you have to be quite drunk to get up and do it. I think you have to be drunk to appreciate it.
Yeah.
I think starting fights would be fairly easy. And then, obviously they get further out of hand.
Yeah.
So Filipinos who can afford to often get private rooms to sing karaoke. Violence in some bars led to owners of the establishment employing bakla, who are gay or effeminate men or trans women who use humour to diffuse conflicts that start between people or over male patrons over women. Because everyone sees the bakla as neutral. They are employed to smooth over conflicts that are happening in karaoke bars.
Fantastic.
So the New York Times article asks the question, are the killings a byproduct of the country's culture of violence, drinking and machismo, or is there something inherently sinister in the song?
Right, so like play backwards, and it's got satanic messages.
It sounds like they're trying to, write an episode of The Extraordinary or something, just to hype up the...
Sure sounds like it.
Yeah. So karaoke bars in the Philippines can often be violent, with fights sparked over poor singing or the singing of boring songs. And the noticed number... Well, yeah, you guys are lucky you're in Australia.
I reckon.
I've heard Chubbs do an amazing rendition of Paranoid Android by Radiohead.
Which category does it fall into? Both
it did not.
Boring and out of key.
It made me want to cheer. It didn't make me want to kill him.
Yeah, but that's not Chubbs' standard. We all know what Chubbs' standard is. Chubbs?
Bette Midler's The Rose.
Yes.
So that's something that I'll always come back to, and is neither boring nor ever out of tune.
No, certainly not.
Absolutely.
As the patrons of the G Kwong can testify to.
Magical.
Exactly right. But I frequented a lot in when I lived in Japan, and I remember there was one woman we always went there with, and she would always sing Billie Jean, and it was the worst singing I've ever heard in my entire life. But again, that was celebrated rather than, like it's hard to describe exactly how she could sing so badly, but it was kind of just screeching the song, I guess. I'm just going to shout, but I'm going to screech it at the same time, and that will kind of count as singing.
Well, one of the biggest revelations of karaoke that I had ever experienced was
it's a karaoke revelation. I like this.
The juxtaposition between karaoke in Australia and karaoke in Japan.
Yeah.
Right.
They are, in essence, the same thing, but two completely different experiences.
I would agree with that, yes.
The fact that a karaoke experience in Australia involves you getting up in front of upwards of 100 people and basically being ridiculed versus sitting in a room of 10 to 15 people drinking copious
heavily,
amounts of continuously flowing Moscow Mules with
pretty
a group
accurate,
of
yeah.
friends, with the encouragement of others to actually get up and, and just really sort of let rip and screech and yell Billie Jean, rather than being booed down. Well, I don't think I've ever really seen anyone booed down, but it really is
Or
it's a
murdered,
different
for that matter.
experience. Or murdered, yeah, that's right. But yes, if anyone can, one of the major reasons to go to Japan is to do karaoke.
Well, I was going to say sensible, Ben, you're pretty keen for the old a bit of a Frank tune, belting one of those out. Would you, if you went to the Philippines, would you tempt fate? Like, is it just kind of like a bit of a trial by fire to prove yourself as a Frank performer by belting out My Way? Would you be tempted to get up there and do it?
Funnily enough, My Way has never been my way.
Been your go-to, I know.
No.
Oh, wow.
But, look, living on the edge, why not? Maybe,
Aerosmith song? Or what?
maybe, just maybe, if I, at some stage in life, if I get to the point where I'm like, it's pretty close, maybe I will go and
I think
let rip in the Philippines.
Honestly, I'd be tempted to tempt fate. I think there's something in there. There's a part of it, and I think that after a few drinks, I'd be even more tempted.
Can I tell you how I came across this story?
Please.
So, shout out to a friend of mine who probably doesn't listen.
Hello, friend.
Hello, not listening friend. Dion.
Normally, your ridicule of our non-listeners doesn't start until about 10 episodes into it.
Yeah, that's right.
So Dion was recently in the Philippines and is a karaoke nut and got up and sang My Way.
No.
And got when he finished and got down, was told that he did a good job and that was lucky for him. And then got
Seriously?
told all about
the story,
yes.
Wow.
So
So he had no prior knowledge. He wasn't tempting fate.
No, he got
That's
told
pretty
about
cool.
it after he stepped down from singing the song.
There should be an asterisk next to that on the bloody karaoke book in the Philippines. Really?
Yeah.
Just a picture of a bullet-riddled corpse next to its smoking style ad.
Yes, so I guess lucky you did a good job. So I've got a lot more notes here about possible reasons why the song has this effect, particularly on people. But I'm going to skip all that and just go to my last paragraph here, which is karaoke rage in other countries.
Oh.
So, videoke rage or karaoke rage is not just limited to My Way in the Philippines. There have been several reported cases of singers being assaulted, shot, or stabbed mid-performance, usually over how songs are sung. In Malaysia in 2008, a man at a coffee shop hogged the karaoke microphone so long he was stabbed to death by other patrons.
Right.
In Thailand, a man was arrested on charges that he shot to death 8 neighbours, one of whom was his brother-in-law, in a dispute stemming from several karaoke offerings, including repeated rendition of John Denver's Take Me Home.
Fair enough. His case dismissed.
I was going to say.
In July
But
20...
Your Honour, John fucking Denver.
We're going to play this now in court. Imagine this.
Yeah. We're going to play this on a loop for 3 hours now. In July 2013, an American was stabbed to death for refusing to stop singing in a karaoke bar in Thailand. In China, a fight occurred over the microphone in a karaoke parlour, and a man hacked 2 others to death with a meat cleaver.
Whoa.
Who takes a meat cleaver karaoke in?
Yeah,
Meat
well,
Cleaver Karaoke Thursdays.
meat.
Cleaver and cook your own steaks, then kill some karaoke goers.
There was also an incident in Seattle where a karaoke singer was punched and attacked by a woman in order to stop him singing Coldplay's Yellow. Again, fair enough, I think. So there we go. Karaoke rage. I thought I'd bring that to your attention, fellas.
Jeez.
Yellow's a pretty good one to get angry about, I think.
Oh, fuck yeah. Dull
It's
song.
pretty dull. It's very dull,
Song.
isn't it?
And quite
Jesus.
difficult to sing.
Quite difficult
well,
to
like
sing.
you can just see there's so many. Yeah.
Yeah, imagine them look at the stars. That'd be, look at the stars. Oh, fuck off.
You should run karaoke with that attitude. All right, first line. Fuck off. All right. Just boot him off the stage.
Yeah, I'm usually pretty anti karaoke, so I'm going into it with that attitude, to be honest.
Yeah. Come on. You know what time it is. Time to pick a fucking date. Pick a date, motherfucker. Pick a date. Pick a date, motherfucker. Pick a date. Pick a date and we will talk about it. What's happened that day through the years?
Let's jump over to Matt.
All right,
What do
well,
you
we're
got,
going to
fella?
keep the music theme going. And on this day, I won't tell you the year because I want you to have a guess. On this day, the highest selling single of all time was recorded. Does anyone know what the highest selling single of all time worldwide was?
Can I have
recorded?
a stab?
It sold 50 million copies.
Is
Yes.
It? Oh,
White Christmas.
yeah, White Christmas.
Yes, White Christmas by Bing Crosby was recorded on the 29th of May, 1942,
Okay.
which I'm pretty stupid at times. And when I read that, I was like, but it's not Christmas. It's May. I literally went, that doesn't make sense. Why didn't they record it at Christmas?
Didn't they release it the same day they recorded?
Yeah, that's right. It's very fast. It's a very quick turnover. Okay, so what I wanted to see is this list has 14 songs that have sold 15 million copies or upwards worldwide. And I wanted to see just how many you could get. And maybe if you're struggling, you can... I'll give you some of the artists. The reason why I'm going through it, and we'll get to it, is I was so excited to see what was ninth. And this is a clickbait article, if ever there was one. You won't believe what number 9 is. Okay, so what do you think? What else?
What if we throw an artist at you and you say yes or no whether they've got a song in the list? Does that sound all right?
Yeah, that's fine.
So we're going to say MJ. Michael Jackson.
Ellis, great minds.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson is not on the list of 15 million songs. His album,
Elvis.
Thriller, is the highest selling album of all time.
Yeah.
But singles, I think everyone bought the
Singles,
album. I think it was 35 million sales of the album.
Ridiculous.
So
Just
not enough
ridiculous.
people buying singles if they've got them already.
Okay.
People already bought the album. Okay, no.
Mel,
How about Elvis?
How about Mel and Kim?
No. Wow.
No? Okay.
No, I
Just
don't
throwing it out there.
think it's
Just
on the
checking.
list of the top 1,000. But Elvis.
Shall we get them all out of our system
Yeah,
now?
Elvis.
Charles and Eddie. Charles and Eddie.
Plastic Bertrand.
Elvis is on the list. He's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7th.
Is it
Prince
Jailhouse Rock?
No, it is.
Blue Suede Shoes.
No, it's Now or Never is his most popular song. Whether it's worldwide, that song, Elvis obviously has a big following all over the world, but that song in Japan was another karaoke song the Japanese people always
Yeah.
sang.
Yep. Okay, what about Unchained Melody?
Unchained Melody is on the list, yes. There's a couple of songs I think they've had a couple of runs. So Unchained Melody came out, it was fairly successful, and then when Ghost came out, it was a monster hit in 1990.
In that vein, I'm going to go Bohemian Rhapsody.
Bohemian Rhapsody is on the list as well. But again, it's having double runs, yes. I don't think it was that successful the first time, but
What about The Gambler?
No, not The Gambler.
Damn it.
I'll give you the year.
Kenny on there?
Say that again.
Kenny
Rogers.
No, Kenny Rogers. I will tell you the year. And the second one, second to Bing Crosby, was 33 million, and it came out in 1997, and it was a charity single.
Oh, Macarena.
All right, what charity was that for?
People with Parkinson.
God. That's fair enough too.
She's the Macarena for Parkinson.
If you could get Michael Parkinson, then that would have
Damn it! You got it
Parkinson.
quicker.
Okay, no, you fools. It was Candle in the Wind, Elton John.
Of course. God damn it.
Okay, sold
Right.
33 million copies.
Well, in that vein, then is any of the Live Aid? Not Live Aid. What is it? Band Aid.
Yeah, well, not really, not Band-Aid, but USA for Africa. We
USA
are
for
the
Africa,
world.
sorry. Yep.
Can we go
We
in
are
the
the world.
round? Because we're just kind of talking over the top of each other here.
Oh, yes, yeah. USA for Africa, We Are the World was sold 20 million copies.
All right. We go? You got another go?
Are you two on the list?
You two are not on the list.
Okay.
Okay, what about Beatles?
Strangely enough, not the Beatles.
No Beatles.
No,
Hey, Rich?
I'm trying to think of some of those. Is there any ABBA on there?
No, ABBA.
Guess.
I will give you a hint. There's quite a lot of shitty ballads from the early 90s that you will definitely go, oh, yes. Songs that were in the number one or high up for too fucking long.
Were they British or American acts?
One American, one
Combination of both.
Canadian.
Brian Adams.
Yeah, Brian Adams. What song?
Everything I do it
That's
for you.
correct.
That one
Everything
from
I
the
do.
Robin Hood
Yes,
thing.
everything I do it for you. 15 million. Female artist was fifth, sold 22 million.
Madonna?
Not Madonna. It's from a soundtrack.
Tracy Chapman.
It's from a soundtrack that she was actually in as well. Female artist, 1992.
It's
Oh.
Not 1992.
Hang on. Oh, sorry. Madonna's not the female artist. She wasn't in a movie and didn't do the soundtrack.
92.
1992.
Celine Dion would have to be on there somewhere.
Celine Dion is on the list. My Heart Will Go On
Yeah.
from 1997.
Oh. We're talking movie soundtrack?
Yeah.
Whitney.
Whitney is correct. 22 fucking million copies of that song.
What?
Incidentally, another one people love to sing at karaoke, and you know what?
Can't sing.
Usually,
It's really hard to sing.
Usually, this is again as Sensible Ben was saying, the difference between Australian karaoke and Japanese karaoke is Australian karaoke people sing that and destroy the song horribly.
Yeah.
In Japan, I think having people in a room with your friends makes you realize what your limitations are. Because people don't seem to sing outside of their limitations. So people who sang that in Japan usually did it really well.
Quite
Just a
respectful.
surprise.
Or simply, in other countries, friends are supportive of each other.
Yeah.
In Australia, friends are very happy to rip into
True.
your flaws and faults.
They'll more likely go, yeah, get up and do I Will Always Love You. Everyone will love it. Get up.
When your best mate's nickname's Ball Bag.
Okay, I'm going to go through.
That's the kind of culture.
I'm going to go through because we've only got 4 or 5 left. I'm going to go through the number 3.
Hey, is Psy on that list?
Say that again. Sorry.
Psy, the South Korean
Oh right, you know
Gangnam
what?
Style guy.
I would look that up earlier today because he's not on the list, and he's quite a long way down the list. So what?
But if you added YouTube views onto there, I guess.
Yeah, but that's it. Like I think it was the first video to have 1 billion YouTube views, but
Yeah,
it didn't sell as many. I think everyone just watched it on YouTube and went, "That's weird," and didn't put it on. Didn't like, "Oh, I'm going to listen to this song without." I think it was a very visual. That was the appeal of it as well. Was how visual it was.
Well, by that token, the pineapple pen guy probably hasn't.
No,
selling
he didn't
that.
crack any market either. So Bing Crosby was third again with Silent Night, just hogging the Christmas market. We've got Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You.
Oh,
Yes, which I can't stand.
Is
But
there any Buble Christmas on there?
there's no, sadly not.
What about Rolf Harris, 6 White Boomers?
That didn't make the list, I'm afraid.
About the Australian basketball team?
Wow. You're the one that I want was on the list.
I was going to say a Grease song.
come on, we should
I
have
thought it
stuck
might have
with
been
the
hopelessly
fucking-
devoted.
That one
movie
never goes away. My 6-year-old daughter loves Grease. Loves it. She watch it happily every day. I can't wait. I love the idea of watching it with her until she gets older and older and starts going, hang on.
Has that got the right themes in it?
That's the thing. Everyone, so many people I know grew up on Grease and then watched it later in life and were like, oh my God, I didn't even know any of this was happening. It's done in a way where they don't.
But are those people right in their head?
It all washes past them. It all just goes past them. They just go, all right, where's the song? Oh, yeah, there's the song. They don't get what he's singing about.
There's some cracking tunes in it.
Yeah.
Like the tunes are such earworms. They're fantastic.
They love
good
Rizzo.
songs.
They think she's hilarious. They don't know what the hell she's talking about, but she puts a wig on and dances around. That's pretty fun.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it is odd, but that one just never goes away.
They're at a fair.
Yeah, they're at a fair and they're dancing and they drive away in a flying car.
That's right.
What's not to like there, really?
Yeah, fair enough.
And the T-Birds. Anyway, so here are the odd ones. The 8th highest selling single of all time is the Ink Spots, If I Didn't Care. From
I don't even know what that
1939.
is.
I'm going to play you a bit. You might recognize it. It's on a few soundtracks.
If I didn't care more than words can say.
Really?
No.
How many did it sell?
19 million copies.
Oh, Jesus.
What's that like the entire population of the Earth? Jesus Christ.
I haven't researched that. Let me look
It
that up.
didn't actually sell 19 million copies. They just sent out a copy to everyone, U2 style.
to get them to join the war or
And-
something. If you go to war, you won't have to listen to
There's
this.
these Maasai warriors just standing there going, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
With good cause. It was fucking awful.
I know. I was like, all right. And then I had to check. I was like, surely this can't be right. And I looked it up. Yes, it sold 19. I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I
Wow.
know taste is a bit unusual and varied, but that just, anyway, that seems odd. But anyway, song number 9.
What about
Sorry.
What a Wonderful World? Is that
No, that's not on the list. No.
Oh, jeez.
Just that weird, just that cheesy song. I don't get it, even for its time, man. Why isn't it famous? Like, it's not carried over. Like, that's the weird thing, right? Like, all the other songs on the list. Oh, the other one was Bill Haley and the Comets' Rock Around the Clock,
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
right?
That makes sense,
So all these songs, 1945, 1930, 1942, 1954, they're all still in the lexicon. But this one, did everyone just buy it and go, like in 50 years' time, are people going to be like looking up and going, what the hell is Gangnam Style? What is that?
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
is that-
maybe, yeah.
Well, you got to remember that you could get heroin over the counter at the chemist back in those
Yeah,
days,
fair
so that
enough.
might have been
That is a good
big
heroin
contributing
song,
factor
isn't
to
it?
that.
And
It's a great heroin song.
probably, yeah, explain some of the figures.
Yeah.
Shit.
Okay, but here we go. Number 9. This is really the only reason I'm doing this is to tell you that the 9th highest selling single of all time is Baccarat. Yes, sir, I can boogie.
Oh, no.
That's fucking amazing.
Yep. And because it was massive in Europe more than anything else.
And I can imagine it. Oh, my God.
Yeah. So that is the 9th selling single of all time. Baccarat.
I don't even know if I know that one.
Oh, how do you
Yeah,
not know? Yes, sir, I can boogie. But at me.
Oh, yeah, okay, all right. Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
I can boogie. Sorry.
Really? No,
I've just had a red dot appear on my shoulder.
yeah, you
I think my Filipino neighbours were just
So they were Spanish. A Spanish duet, and so it was huge all over Europe. So I'd love to look at the figures in America, in Australia, in England, where they were. But yeah, a massive hit in 1977 all over Europe. And so
Yeah, because I remember hearing it in as it must have been like a throwback in discos and stuff, and the discotheques.
Yes.
As we went around Europe, like
Right,
and stuff,
right.
and it used to pop up pretty regularly, and I just thought, I knew it because we had our obsession with crappy 70s.
yeah, I remember. Yeah, one of our great friends, Lois, gave me a CD for my birthday, which was
Sensational
hits of the 70s, and all these songs I'd never heard of. And I was like,
fantastic, awesome songs, but yeah, that one seemed to pop up, and I was like, oh yeah, I know this one.
yes, it's
Interesting.
yeah. So that is the complete list of songs that have sold over 15 million. And on this day, why Christmas, even though it wasn't Christmas? Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
That's,
False advertising.
Yep.
That's fucking bullshit. The Scatman should have been on there.
How would they know what to sing if it wasn't
Malcolm
Christmas?
Gladwell needs to do a revisionist history of that.
Yes, I would agree. Don't give him ideas.
Where was he?
And just
It wasn't even Christmas.
just secret.
And he wrote the song.
That's right. Separately, though, Chirpy Chirpy Cheep Cheep sold 10 million singles worldwide.
You're kidding
No,
me.
I'm not kidding.
I thought. Well, I think that's the thing. I was thinking that maybe there would have been a few more little.
It really
one-hit
isn't
wonders
far
like
down
that.
the list. It's Chirpy Chirpy Cheep Cheep. And if you don't know that song, I'm going to put it on the page because it's one of the worst songs
It's
of all
amazing.
time.
Is there any
That song's-
Neil Diamond in the top, 30?
I haven't gone through it with a fine-tooth comb, but I can have a
think
look.
once
We
again-
can
but he
spend
was-
the
he
rest
was
of
a-
the podcast going, is this person on? Is that person on? We should probably
Move on.
I think Cracklin' Rosie was
He was more of an
his
album
favourite
man.
song.
Old Neil.
Yeah, I think Cracklin' Rosie was his biggest hit, but I don't have.
Crackling Rose get
See?
on board.
There you go, and that's the only
Yep.
reason why. It's because people are like, yes, we'll take that.
Fucking, we're going to get on board.
Yeah,
Chubbs, get on board.
get on board,
Alrighty.
Chubbs.
All right. Now we've had the frivolity and all
Oh,
the
so
fun.
much fun.
Let's take it all down a notch. We're going to take you across to Brussels in 1985.
1985.
1985.
1985. Brussels in 1985. And it was a very exciting time. There was lots of football fans on the streets of Brussels in 1985.
Yeah.
Liverpool fans and Juventus fans. And Juventus had finally made their first European Cup final. Liverpool were coming back to defend it. There was some pretty... I'd say that football hooliganism from English fans was probably around in Europe was probably around about at its height. There'd been a bit of argy-bargy, and so there was some pretty tight security. Basically, any of the ferries which headed across to Brussels, either from Merseyside or from the East Coast, they were heavily guarded. So there was plenty of Liverpool fans heading into the city that day. There was everyone was pretty much saying that it was a convivial kind of crowd in the lead up to the actual game on the match day. So plenty of drinking going on out in the streets, but nothing too major. Everyone was kind of getting on pretty well.
Having a good time. Yeah,
Everyone was just having a good time. It's all
Yeah,
good.
celebrating football, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
good.
that's right. They're all about football. in
Finer aspects of the game.
yeah. So, anyway, getting into this ground, it's called the Hazel Ground
Yes.
in Brussels.
Yay. Everyone
And-
strap yourselves in for a good giggle here. I know. Jeez.
The hilarity is going to be coming thick and fast.
Yeah.
You're listening to Pick a Date, the comedy history.
Well, can we say we're a comedy? I thought we said we're educational. This is where I just...
Well,
so
We
basically,
can't not be funny. Anyway, let's try it.
sorry. we're
Sorry.
Let's try.
Yeah. I'm uncomfortable.
Basically, at one end of the ground, we had all of the Juventus fans. So, as I say, being at the time when hooliganism was rife, the fans were separated, all the tickets were separated. At one end of the ground, we had all of the Juventus fans, and they took up 3 of the big bays around the goals. And at the other end, Liverpool had 2 bays, all the Liverpool fans, and then there was another neutral bay next to the Liverpool fans.
Good
Now,
suburb.
Thank you.
Sorry.
So this was known as this neutral bay was called Block Z, okay, or Block Z. Sorry. So most of the people who ended up buying tickets for this Block Z ended up were Juventus fans. Now, as I say, there was a lot of English security. British police came across on the boats and everything, but once they arrived in Belgium, they really had no power at all, but they kind of went along for the ride with the fans just in case anything was happening, keeping an eye out and all that kind of stuff. And they were quite shocked to see that this Block Z was filled up with so many Juventus fans, because it was next to, adjacent to the Liverpool fans, and it was the only barrier was this pretty much a cyclone fence, like a thin chainmail fence type thing. So there wasn't much going on between them. The problem is that the stadium was pretty much starting to fall apart, and the Liverpool fans then decided that because there were so many Juventus fans next to them, they started hurling bits of the stadium at them.
Fuck.
They decided that there was a bit of a Russia defense when they went into Block Z. Basically what happened is that they claimed that in Block Z there were some Liverpool fans as well as the Juventus fans, which were by far the majority, and that these Liverpool fans were being harassed and harangued and bashed up by these Juventus fans. So they decided to, as any good Brit would tell you, take matters into their own hands, and they pretty much charged down the fence and jumped into this Block Z.
Fuck.
This caused a massive stampede. Okay, so all the Juventus fans are in this Block Z, and they're all of a sudden, all of these Liverpool fans, of which they reckon there was probably around about a third more than there should have been inside these two bays. All of these Liverpool fans were charging over this fence straight at them, basically just to kick the shit out of them, because that's what they did back in the day. So they charged over. The Juventus fans start to charge away to the doorway, which is one single narrow doorway.
Oh, God.
Three Stooges style.
Yeah.
5,000 people running for the one doorway, and there was nowhere for them to go. So basically what happened, there was this massive crush coming on caused by, allegedly, the Liverpool fans kind of coming along and starting to attack these people in Block Z. Now, at this point, a wall ended up collapsing at this gate, next to the gate. As I say, it was like a brick wall, and the doorway was basically just cut into it. And that wall ended up collapsing, and there was a report that lots of people died as a result of this wall collapsing. It wasn't actually the case, because they'd already died from suffocation and crush injuries prior to that.
Oh, Jesus.
So this is, and as I say, this is pretty dire and absolutely not anything to joke about. But so we had 39 people were killed as a result of the crush injuries and suffocation as they tried to escape these Liverpool fans, allegedly. There was a report from one of the guys saying that he was, he felt his trainers being sucked off his feet from the crush, and he was just physically lifted up in the air by all the people around them. So it was that much of a crush, and he just felt the life being drained out of him. He managed to basically climb up over the top of other people and get out that way. And there was reports from others being stuck on the ground for, they were saying for minutes at a time, but it may not have even been that long. But basically this huge crush going on. So anyway, this is about an hour before the due kickoff of the game. Now, what would you think would have happened in a North? So 39 people have been crushed to death in the ground. There's 600 people have been ferried to hospital with some of them very serious injuries.
A portion of the stadium has collapsed.
Well, one of the exterior walls has collapsed. One of the exterior walls has collapsed. At this stage, you've got to remember that this is the end away from the rest of the Juventus fans. So there are, another 15 to 20,000 Juventus fans at the other end of the ground trying to figure out what the hell's going on. And all they're seeing is there's a red wave basically coming across into where they saw a majority of other Juventus fans. So they all start jumping the fence and coming around the running track to come down and take on the Liverpool fans. So basically they start having pitched battles in the middle of the football field against the police. All of this about an hour before the game's supposed to kick off. Most of the people in the stadium who weren't in the fan areas had any idea what actually was going on at this stage until the Juventus fans actually kind of invaded the pitch and started to come on. They had no idea what was going on. So basically there ended up being a sit down with the mayor of Brussels and an Italian minister and the representatives from both clubs. So I think it was the managers of both clubs, not the actual team managers, but the CEOs of both the clubs. Now the Italian minister pretty much straight away said, no, there's no way we can play the rest of the game. The mayor of Brussels was, he liked to drink and he was shit-faced. And he basically said, no, we're going to play the game. Otherwise, there's going to be too much violence. We're going to let them all out onto the streets and they're just going to destroy the town. So we have to play the game. In the meantime, all the players were down underneath in the tunnels, sitting there waiting to play. Like, you know, they can hear this commotion going on. They don't really know what's happening. They're just told to stay down in the tunnels. They have no idea that this is all kicked off. And so they're all down there, and then they come down, and someone comes down and tells them, oh, there's going to be a delay to the play. We're going to be delayed by a couple of hours. And they're like, oh, what's happened? And they said, oh, there's been a major incident. There have been some injuries, but we're cleaning it all up and we'll all be fine. And this is what the players were told.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, so just keep stretched, guys. You know, we'll get to it shortly. Just make sure, you know, no cramps or injuries, please. Just keep ready. We'll be playing soon. Don't worry.
So basically, yeah, and that's it. That's exactly what happens. And some of them are sitting around playing cards. Like, you know, they're just chilling out, they're playing one of the biggest games of their career. Like, you know, this is a European Cup final. It's a massive, massive game. You know, and it was just at the time when, you know, the being televised across Europe was starting to be a big thing. And so they're down in the dressing rooms waiting, and then I think the Liverpool captain gets brought out up onto the pitch, and he's devastated. He comes out and he can't believe what he can see, because he breaks down basically and grabs one of the security details' hand, and he's just like, what's happened here? It looks like a war zone. He comes up, you know, there's this collapsed wall. There's they're not ready for this kind of level of a disaster. They've basically got these makeshift tents out the back, which is just filled with bodies. There's people who are strewn everywhere. There's still injured people lying around the pitch, and he's been brought out to try and quell the fans and keep them calm. And same with some of the Juventus players are brought out there. And because there are so many Juventus fans on the pitch, they've actually got fans, some of the fans coming up to them saying, oh, help me, I need to find my brother, I can't find him anywhere, blah, blah, blah. And other ones were coming up to them going, hey, mate, can I get an autograph, please? Oh, just being so stoked about being in the moment. So there was this really weird thing where half the people just didn't seem to care what had happened, or didn't really understand the gravity of what had happened. And the other half were absolutely distraught and devastated because they'd lost loved ones and family.
Yeah.
So basically 2 hours later, they're still kind of debating about whether it's going to go ahead or not. Eventually, the teams come up, so it's about 2.25 hours later, and they play the game. And this was in the backdrop of, you know, these 39 people had died, and 580, sorry, I said 600 reports, 580 were actually sent to hospital. Of the dead, we had 32 Italians, 4 Belgians, 2 French, and 1 bloke from Northern Ireland. And Juventus eventually won the game. They won 1-0 based on a really, really dodgy penalty.
Yeah.
That's the biggest crime of the day.
I've actually spoken to people when I was in England, Liverpool supporters, and when you bring it up, they like, yes, tragedy. That penalty was the biggest farce. You're like, great.
He was brought down outside the box.
Yeah.
And stumbled in the box.
Yeah, stumbled in the box.
Yeah,
like, it was never a
sky.
penalty.
Like,
like, okay.
Yeah, was that? Yeah, and that was that. And that was, but this was the big thing. There was huge criticism against both teams for daring to play afterwards.
Yeah.
But it's one of these things which is really, and it's become really brushed under the carpet of history. Like, you know, this was a massive thing. There was some of the Liverpool fans were eventually convicted of manslaughter, which is a pretty big stretch when you think about it.
Yeah.
Because it was such a...
Yeah, the organisation of the whole thing is...
Yeah, well, that's exactly right. Like, you know, and I'm not trying to say that they weren't responsible, but to pin it on individuals, I think, is a pretty strong thing to do, because there's so many other extenuating circumstances.
Well, even if you draw back to the fact that they chose to play it at that particular stadium, when the stadium itself was in no fit state to hold.
Well, this has been part of the argument. Like, you know, even the police who are actually on duty for the game were like, some of the police. I think the police were actually on that boundary between Section Z and the rest of the Liverpool fans. They were basically the third string of their tactical response group type thing, because the Pope had been in Belgium earlier that month, and so many police had worked overtime.
Oh, God.
All of those top-tier police had taken the time off because they'd basically worked 3 weeks straight without any break. And then there was the third tier who were the ones who ended up being in this absolutely critical zone.
But it's a lot of things happened in the 80s with football. That's why it's all seated now, is because that happened, and then a few years later it happened at Hillsborough, where even more 90-something people.
And I think
died.
that's the thing. Like that Hillsborough has a very different place in the hearts of Liverpool fans, especially. Like if you think about it. Whereas this is something which I vaguely knew about, but until I had to look at it, I had no idea of the carnage that it was. That's having 39 people dying at a game and then continuing
to play the game,
2 hours later. And then, as I say, the big thing, part of the big criticism being later, against the players, how dare you celebrate your goals? How dare you rejoice in this victory? And even Juventus, they really rarely acknowledge the fact that they acknowledge that it happened, but it's not something that they ever really kind of talk about being a tragedy on their website or anything like that. It's something which is it's a very shameful type thing in the annals of European football. And all English clubs were banned from European football for the next 4 years after that, and I think Liverpool for 6.
Yeah, wow.
Fuck. Yeah, they didn't play. They didn't play for the rest of the 80s. So you think about the Liverpool team of the 80s; it was just incredible. And something that I didn't realise, and I say this particularly for Sensible Ben, that Bruce Grobbelaar, the Liverpool goalkeeper, was actually Zimbabwean and sounded quite a bit like one of our friends. So if you ever feel like you've kind of Oscar's out
we can
over
get
on his
Oscar
welcome,
and Bruce Grobbelaar together for a chat.
Oscar and Bruce could definitely have a bit of a conversation together, I think.
At some stage.
At some stage, that would definitely be something that we could. But sorry to bring it down there, boys. As I say, I'm still not quite getting the tone of this podcast. I'll get it right.
That's all right.
Oh, thanks for that story. Thank you.
Yeah, great story.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Have a great time.
Bob Newhart.
Wow.
Join us next week where Bruce Grobbelaar and Oscar Pistorius sing Chirpy Chirpy Cheep Cheep.
Bruce Grobbelaar covered you at the Tamaja bar. No. Yes. Get in contact. Pick a date at outlook.com, Facebook, Twitters, iTunes reviews, please. And just share it with someone.
Yeah.
Share the love.
Share it with the people you love.
Yes.
Yeah. Good night, everybody. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Boogie woogie all night long.
I was very sure someone was going to do the Space Shuttle Discovery completes its first docking with the International Space Station. Purely so we could talk about docking for a few minutes.
Jonathan Docking.
This is an Angry Chimp podcast.